Today on 10-Minute IT Jams, we are joined by Joe Lee, who is the APAC Vice President of Forta. Forta is a fully automated platform that uses customer intelligence, making decisions about e-commerce interactions to keep businesses safe from fraud. Joe joins us today to tell us more about Forta, what is driving the onboarding of new customers for the company, and the impacts of fraud. Thank you for coming along, Joe, and welcome to the Jam.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Excited to be here.
So we've had Forta on the Jam once before, but Joe, can you please explain again a bit about the company and what you do?
Sure. So I oversee the APAC region for Forta. Forta in itself is literally we support customers on their digital commerce journey. So every step of the way, we make digital commerce safe and we make it a place that people can trust the transactions that they're going through. So we help in two ways. We help with literally declining fraud and keeping the bad people out, and then approving the good transactions and keeping the good people in. And I think that's the easiest way to put it. We do that by the use of using an automated decisioning, and behind that is AI and ML. So unlike most other companies, this is a very unique thing we do. We have a huge amount of personas and identities that helps us make these decisions quickly, and then help customers either eliminate that fraud altogether, and then approve a much higher amount of good customers' transactions, because we know that's a big thing that happens, blocking good people.
And I'm sure online transactions have increased dramatically with all the changes over the past few years. Has that led to an increased risk of fraud for e-commerce?
Yes. So it's been like this. So quite interestingly, there was traditional fraud at the decisioning standpoint. What we're seeing and what I see is it's different in each market, but I see a lot happening around fraud, around promo and advertisement abuse. So people will find ways, and like we'll say, like maybe it's a cosmetic company that's online, or an apparel company, and you have a certain rebate or a discount. They will literally find ways to scrape up all of those and take advantage of that, and then if there is a free product that they get from it, they will resell that on the aftermarket. And so these types of abuse they're very detrimental to two things. One, the actual company, because they're losing product, and then if it's a marketplace, they're losing like marketing dollars and funds that they put into it. And then it's customer experience, because someone then is reselling their goods online or in an aftermarket, and it's not a good experience. So what we want to do is block the people that are doing those types of behaviors and make sure that you're using the policies, the coupon policies, for what they're meant to be, and the promo policies. Likewise, the other one is around identities. And when fraudsters have time, when everybody was locked in their house, they must have come up with more things to do. So we saw this spike in account takeovers as well. It's particularly relevant when you start getting into e-wallets and you get into like the BNPL space and all these different areas where people are literally doing remittance or payments online. And there's a lot we can block there, and it's a lot that we've seen happening there too. So I guess my answer to the big picture is that with the amount of time they had, fraudsters got a lot more sophisticated, for sure. Every year they are.
And what sort of customers are you working with in Asia Pacific? And are there any kind of patterns or particular types of online behavior that are driving them to seek Forta's help?
Yeah. So our customer base is very diverse. It was a very interesting thing about it. So we have everyone from like fast fashion companies, and fast fashion is something like Hello Molly is a client of ours. And we get just general apparel companies, cosmetics, a lot of folks in the, when I talk about apparel, it'll be like in the shoe fashion. We have folks in digital goods, and that could be either gaming top-ups or like just literally electronic sites where they're selling, digital goods, but also physical stuff like the typical places like that. Marketplaces are big for us. And then finally, I would say food delivery, ride hailing. So there's literally fraud in almost anywhere you go. Some of the customers that I think are interesting that have spoken out about us is Adore Beauty has gone on record a few times and talked about that. And that's a great, homegrown Australia customer story. And we're seeing a lot of cosmetic companies dealing with the same issues around fraud because of the high average order value of these cosmetic items, is that they're doing a lot either there with whether it be different bot attacks or ad and promo abuse. So we're really excited to help stop that and then continue to support the experience of the good users. Another one that we recently had an announcement on is Accent Group, which I like them. I got my chance to go to Hype and Subtype and Platypus when I was in Melbourne and Sydney. Great stores. And on their online presence as well, we protect a large amount of their websites, and we just stop the bad users from doing anything there, and in essence promoting and authorizing more of the good users. So those are just a couple that are in where we're at today in Australia.
Awesome. And apart from obviously the loss of money and customers, does fraud come with any other hidden costs?
Yeah, I think there's fraud, and then there's literally revenue enablement. And so when we talk about that, here's a good way to formulate it is sometimes the fraud isn't really that high, or they found a way to manage it. But what they're doing is they put something in place called 3DS or 3DS 2.0. So let me explain what that is, because it's a very good concept for us to talk about here. That's literally when I go through and I'm like purchasing something, which unfortunately I do a lot, and then you get an OTP on your mobile or on your computer, and you have to go rush and find where that code is. That code could be in your email, that code could be on your phone, that code could be attached to your partner's phone, it could be attached to someone else's email. I mean, depends, right? Or you may not get it in time, so you can't make that transaction. So we find with 3DS and then the new version 3DS 2.0, there's just a huge amount of cart abandonment. And what that does mean, that means retailers, merchants, these companies are leaving a large amount of GMV on the table. So we've had scenarios where we've done ROI analysis, which we can do very quickly with customers, where they're leaving 50 million USD GMV on the table per year because they're not approving things, because the people are not able to work through 3DS. So 3DS is not necessarily a rule for most customers, but sometimes they think, oh, well, we'll stop fraud, we'll put everything through 3DS. What they don't understand is how big of a ramification it is to customer experience. People don't like that. They do want to be protected. They do not want fraud. They do not want to have to call their credit card company and ask for a refund. That's a hassle. But at the same time, if somebody does not have a differentiated good and you decline them, they'll buy the good somewhere else. They'll literally just go somewhere else and buy it. And if you do that to somebody that's trying to order food a few times, they're going to say, your website's not reliable, or this isn't reliable, or they'll find another way to, buy food, buy liquor, whatever it is, right? Because a lot of these online, we've been now trained to purchase online. Now people have put the security gate in of 3DS, and we just have to find ways to work with these committees and to work with these companies so that we can support them with that. We have something that supports that I think has been helpful for clients, and we just route people to there when it's necessary, but it's not like a de facto standard. So I think that's a little bit more of a deeper discussion I had planned on going into, but it seems from my last 2 weeks on the road, meeting clients from anywhere from Australia to Japan, it's been a hot topic.
And are you able to share any examples of customers who have reduced fraud and made their businesses more efficient, in particular in APAC?
Yes. So there's a company that is doing really well across APAC, and they're doing well in Australia as well. They're doing well in Singapore, the ASEAN countries, etc. It's called Shopback. They do cash rewards. So you work with them and they work with the merchants, and then they literally decrease their abandonment of cart, their cart abandonment by 70%. And they went on record to say that. So that's literally making it more frictionless and allowing more purchases to go through, allowing merchants to be more, or not merchants, the customers to be more happy with using the platform. And so we're a big supporter of Shopback. We love working with them, and they're growing really quickly. And if you think of how many merchants they touch, it's an exciting time for them. So that's one example there.
Yeah, fantastic. And what is coming up for Forta in the near future?
Well, it's pretty busy, and that's a good thing. So we have our inaugural Forta conference for like the global one. Forta turned 9 years old this last year. So I probably should have started by mentioning that. It's a great thing. And when we turn 9 years old, now we're officially doing this big conference. I'll just say that it's great if people can take a look at that. It's at Impact Forta Impact. If you Google that, you'll find out who's at the conference. I'm not allowed to name all the names there that are on there, but you'll see that there are some of the largest global companies, retailers that are there that are speaking. It's a very impressive list. So I'll be in New York later in the week, next week with that event. So that's super exciting. It's a merchant-led event. So really, we're not leading the discussions. It's going to be merchants talking and figuring out ways that they can help each other, how they've worked around issues like we just mentioned. In Europe, it's called PDS2, and it's 3DS2 now over here. So there's a different way that they put this in place, but people are going to be looking to ways to increase revenue, decrease fraud, and working through those. On other topics, we did bring on a really interesting new client in India and a really interesting new client in Indonesia. So my background is I love working in emerging markets. We have offices today in Shanghai, Tokyo, Singapore, and Sydney, Melbourne. But I am really excited about how we've now growing into where these markets are with other very large populations. So India and Indonesia. So I think that's really kept us busy because the use cases are very different that you'll see in those markets than you'll see just in Australia or Japan.
And how should someone get in touch with Forta if they would like to find out more?
Our website is pretty comprehensive at forter.com, FORTER.com. So it's pretty, but I also encourage you to, while the website's still up, check out the Forta Impact Conference because it's pretty cool. I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. I find it to be a great way to network, I think that's a great way to start. And I just want to say thanks, and hopefully we'll get to help a lot more folks in the merchant business, e-wallet business, so forth.
Awesome, Joe. It's been great to hear more about Forta and what it can offer to Asia Pacific and globally. Thank you so much for joining us on the Jam, and we look forward to hearing more from Forta soon.
Cool. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.